Veranda IAS, where your dream becomes reality.
Hello everyone, welcome to the daily current affair analysis from Veranda IAS. Today we are going to see some of the important current affair from the day of 27th of June 2023, moving on to the topics of the day. So as usual, we'll be first discussing some of the important questions from 2023 prelims, and after the question discussion, we'll be moving on to the editorial analysis from the Hindu, that is laying the foundation for a future-ready digital India, which can be mapped to GS3 Science and Technology and also can be mapped to GS2 Governance. And the next topic will be exercise a run, which I carried out by the IAF with a focus on integrated operations, which can be mapped to GS3 Defense and Internal Security, which is of prelims importance. And after which the next topic is about India ranked 40th spot in 2023 Global Competitiveness Index, which can be mapped to GS3 Economy also. Moving on to the 2023 prelims question discussions. First question, consider the following organizations or bodies in India. First one, the National Commission for Backward Classes. Second, the National Human Rights Commission. Third one, the National Law Commission. Fourth one, the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission. The question is, how many of the above are constitution bodies? This is a question from Polity and Governance. So now let us see or have the discussion about it. So friends, both the National Human Rights Commission as well as the National Commission for Backward Classes, they are authorized by the Constitution, or else we can say that they are constitution bodies. So what about the National Law Commission? So the Law Commission of India is a non-statutory body and is constituted by a notification of the Government of India under the Ministry of Law and Justice within the Department of Legal Affairs, with a very definite terms of reference to carry out research in the field of law. And also it is this commission which makes recommendation to the government on various aspects of laws. Then the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, or NCRDRC. So what is this National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission? What type of a body is that? It is a quasi-judicial body. It is a quasi-judicial body which was set up in the year 1988 under the Consumer Protection Act of 1986. Under the Consumer Protection Act of 1986, this body called as the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission was set up in the year 1988. So what is the right answer? How many of the above are constitutional bodies? Which are they? So option B, only 2 is the right answer, which are the National Commission for Backward Classes and also the National Human Rights Commission. Okay, is it clear? Yes, let us proceed to the next question. Consider the following statements. First statement, if the election of the President of India is declared void by the Supreme Court of India, all acts done by him or her in the performance of duties of his or her office of President before the date of decision become invalid. Second statement, election for the post of the President of India can be postponed on the ground that some legislative assemblies have been dissolved and elections are yet to take place. Third statement, when a bill is presented to the President of India, the Constitution prescribes time limits within which he or she has to declare his or her assent. How many of the above statements are correct? So we are asked to identify the correct statement. So here you should understand that the Electoral College to the President of India, which consists of elected members of both houses of the Parliament, then the elected members of the state legislative assemblies, and also elected members of the legislative assemblies of the Union Territories of Delhi and Puducherry, they are the ones who elect the President in an indirect manner, right? So we know that it is based on a proportional representation of votes also. So if the Supreme Court nullifies a person's election as a President, any actions they took prior to that date are still valid and are unaffected and continue to be in effect. So we can see that the first statement is wrong. Then the Supreme Court ruled out in the year 1974 that the dissolution of a state legislative assembly would not be a reason to prevent the election from taking place when the president's term is expired. Additionally, it is not acceptable to argue that the dissolution of the Legislative Assembly of a state requires the president's election to take place only after the state election. So we can say that second statement is also wrong. If you see the state's third statement, there is no time limit specified by the Indian Constitution for the President to decide on a bill that has been submitted to him or her for approval. So as a result, the Indian President can simply keep the bills on the table indefinitely also. So we can say the third statement is also wrong. So which of the, how many statements are correct? none. So option D is a right answer to this question. Option D is a right answer. Shall we proceed further? Yes. Let us move on to the editorial analysis. So the topic or the title was Laying the Foundation for a Future Ready Digital India, which itself shows the importance of this editorial. Let us see the context. So the proposed Digital India Bill. So this is the reason why we are seeing this editorial. Digital India Bill holds out the promise of not only upgrading the current legal regime, but also redefining the contours of how the technology is regulated. So let us see what is the background of this news. So the Ministry of Electronics and IT, they have been actively organizing consultations on the proposed Digital India Bill to build a kind of a conceptual alignment on a new law that will replace a very old, that is 23-year-old IT Act, Information Technology Act. We are replacing that based on the spontaneous or the dynamic improvement which is happening in the digital India sphere. Okay, so what is the goal or the objective of this bill? It is to upgrade the current legal regime to tackle the emerging challenges such as user harm, competition and misinformation in the digital space. So this is a very much anticipated piece of legislation that is very much likely to redefine the contours of how the technology is regulated, not just in India, but also in the global regime. So now let us understand what is the definitions of the present regime, or what all things are happening in the present regime. So the current IT Act defines an intermediary to include any entity between a user and the internet. Okay, so and the IT rules subclassify these kind of an intermediaries between the user and intermediary internet into three main categories. Which are they? The social media intermediaries called as SMI. Then we have SSMI. What is that? Significant social media intermediaries, and also the recently notified online gaming intermediaries. So as per the IT rules, these are the three subclassifications. What are they? SMI is there, social media intermediaries. Then we have SSMI, significant social media intermediary, and also we have online gaming intermediaries. So what are these SMIs? SMIs are the platform that facilitate communication and sharing of information between users. So we can see that it can be a kind of a WhatsApp. So the definition of the SMI itself is very broad and vague, right? So it might include video communications, matrimonial websites, email, and even online comment sections that is available on the websites. Then we have SSMIs. So this SMIs that have a very large user base above a specified threshold is called as significant social media intermediaries. Can anyone say an example for this SSMIs? Yes, Twitter is an example for that. That means above the much more than a specified threshold, we can see the user base for that particular social media. Then stringent obligations for most intermediaries are present in the current regime. That is, now we have a 72-hour timeline for responding to the law enforcement and resolving content takedown requests. Suppose if a law enforcement agency is saying that this particular tweet of a celebrity is making some menace in the society, means they only have got what, this 72 hours. Within the 72 hours they have to take it down. So these kind of very stringent laws are being applied under the IT Act currently. So these are the issues of the present regime. What are they? One is that broad and the vague definitions of the subclassifications coming under the IT Act, and also the stringent obligations that have to be followed by these IT companies or this intermediaries. Moving on to the lacuna. So these are the general perspective of the regime. Now, what is the lacuna? Lacuna means what? The confusion or where the problem arises. So unfortunately, ISPs, website, e-commerce platforms and cloud services are all treated similarly. There is no separate subclassification for the different domains that is going to come under the Digital India sphere. So treating these intermediaries like conventional social media platforms is not good. It not only adds to the cost of doing business, but also it exposes them to greater liability. So if you see the example of European Union's Digital Services Act, there is three tier of intermediaries that they have. What is hosting services, like that of the Amazon Web Service, like hosting services, then online platforms, and also very large online platforms like that of Twitter. Then if you see the continent of Australia, they have an 8-fold classification system, that is separate codes are governing social media platforms as well as for search engines. So that much kind of an internal classification is being provided for the intermediaries. So who are intermediaries? Those who are connecting users and internet are called as intermediaries. So among the intermediaries itself, Australia is having eightfold kind of a classification, which will become these kind of monitoring and governance much more easier. Intermediaries are required to conduct what all things are risk assessments they have to do based on the potential for exposure to harmful content. What are the harmful content, such as the child sexual abuse materialism or this kind of a terrorism. So such kind of a materials, whether that is there propagating or any kind of a propaganda is being promulgated or is circulated through that particular website, is the duty of the online platforms to verify also. So all these kind of a things are confusing with respect to our present regime. So what should be the focus areas for India? Especially, we are one of the most significant country in the world right now with the highest population and also with the highest users of digital platforms also, especially like that of digital money payment banks. Okay, so we need a classification framework that creates a few defined categories and also requires intermediaries to undertake risk assessments, bucket them into relevant categories also. Not only that, the intermediaries could appoint a grievance officer. Right, so that is very, very important to have a grievance officer to address this different problems, cooperate with the law enforcement, identify advertising, and also take down problematic content within reasonable timelines. So we don't want this kind of delay in any of the actions which have to be taken in the digital sphere. Communication services intermediaries, that is, to undertake risk assessments based on the number of their active users, risk of harm and potential for virality of harmful content. So all these things can be the focus areas for India. Largest communication services like that of Twitter, they are required to adhere to special obligations, appointing India-based officers. That means we should clearly understand what is the pulse of India. If any kind of a post is being asked, like we cannot, or they should have their own like people who belongs to India to understand whether it will create a kind of a spur or whether it is a threat to the internal security of the country. Then any kind of a foreigner cannot determine whether that particular local issue will create or will hurt the sentiments of the local peoples of India. So definitely India-based officers are required for all these kind of large platforms. In-house grievance appellate mechanisms with independent external stakeholders is also important. Then alternative approaches to curbing virality, such as circuit breakers to slow down the content. So if any kind of content which is creating some violence in the society or is a threat to the internal security and also the peace of the country, it have to be suddenly slowed down. So such kind of a circuit breakers are also very, very important. So what is the way forward for these kind of a thing? So the author is saying that there should be metrics for risk assessment and also appropriate thresholds would have to be defined. Not only that, there should be proper review on a periodic basis in consultation with the industry, especially with the people from the external stake. And also it could help create a regulatory environment that helps achieve the government's policy goal of creating a safer internet ecosystem. Right now, we don't have any kind of particular regulatory body as such for creating a government's agenda or government's policy of a safer internet ecosystem with this much kind of a high population from our country. While also we should allow business to thrive. That doesn't mean that we should ask Twitter to leave India and go. That should also not happen, because in this kind of a globalized world, in this kind of a era where make in India and the ease of doing business, we are striving to improve, or we are trying to becoming a developed country, and we are trying to take over China and become one of the superpower of the world. It is very much essential for us to be in forefront in the digital sphere, and that kind of a businesses, investments, foreign direct investments are all very, very important. And that is why we can say that though these kind of a regulatory environment should be there, it should not be that much stringent so that the people should not go away. Okay, is it clear? So that kind of a diplomatic way we have to provide as a way forward and as a conclusion. So with that, we can proceed to the next topic. Exercise Run Vijay carried out by the IAF with a focus on the integrated operation. The Indian Air Force conducted exercise Run Vijay, where day and night operations were carried out by fighter aircrafts including Sukhoi 30 with focus on integration. And this focus on integrated operations while optimally exploiting the electronic warfare capability of the IAF. So these kind of periodic exercises are being done by our military forces, and also these exercises are very, very important with the prelims point of view. And this exercise was conducted from various air bases of command headquarters at Prayagraj, and as part of the government's move to strengthen the integration between the forces, various IAF commands are conducting maneuvers and aerial exercise to enhance jointness with the other two services, which is the Army and Navy. Okay, so don't forget, exercise Run Vijay is carried out by the Indian Air Force. Next topic. India ranked 40th spot in 2023 Global Competitiveness Index. The International Institute for Management Development, or IMD, has published the latest World Competitiveness Rankings. So let us see what is the results or what is the summary of this report. Denmark, Ireland, and Switzerland, they ranked on the top 3 places on the 64 nation list. Out of the 64, these 3 countries ranked the first 3 places. Whereas we can see India dropped 3 places to rank 40, but still we can see that India is in a better position than between 2019 2022 1, because all these 3 years we are continuously in the rank of 43 for the consecutive years. So based on what parameters or factors they are actually producing this ranking, let us see that. So the IMD World Competitiveness Center, they produces the ranking annually based on the ranking measures of 64 nations with the help of 4 factors given below. Which are they? One is economic performance, government efficiency, business efficiency, and also infrastructure. The IMD World Competitiveness Yearbook was also first published in 1989, and it is a comprehensive annual report and worldwide reference point on the competitiveness of the country. So don't forget, India is ranked 14th spot in 2023 Global Competitiveness Index released by International Institute for Management Development, which are the factors: economic performance, government efficiency, business efficiency, and infrastructure. Moving on to the question of the day. Which organization publishes the annual World Competitiveness Ranking and produces them through the IMD World Competitiveness Center? Option A, World Economic Forum. Option B, International Monetary Fund. Option C, United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, or UNSTAD, International Institute for Management Development. So we just have seen the news, and the right answer to this question is International Institute for Management Development, because they are the one who publishes the World Competitiveness rankings also. Okay, so I hope today's current affairs analysis was really productive for you. So unless and until we meet next time, this is Prince J signing off. Thank you.